Welcome once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we hear directly from county leaders, discuss the latest news, and talk about all things concerning our beautiful corner of California known as Sonoma County. Hey everyone, good afternoon and welcome back to SoCo Chat, the official podcast of Sonoma County. I'm Paul Gullickson, Communications Manager for the County of Sonoma, and we thank you for joining us. Today, we will be talking with Greg Desmond, who is the Aquatics Supervisor for the Sonoma County Regional Parks. And then we're going to be talking about something that's really crucial this time of year, especially as we head into the warmer summer months, and that is water safety. But before we get to our interview, I want to start, as always, with our trivia question. Our question today is this: when does the Sonoma County Regional Parks Russian River Water Patrol begin its seasonal patrols? Also, when does that free life jacket loaner, when do those stations become available to the public? And if you're going to listen in on today, you'll get that answer. So we encourage you to stay tuned. If you know, and when you know, call us at 565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. And if you're correct, you'll be entered into a drawing for a chance to win an annual Sonoma County Regional Parks Pass, which is valued at $69, one of our better prizes. So you don't want to miss out that. That is an annual County Parks Pass valued at $69. And we will mention again the trivia question at the end of our broadcast. But let's start with a very sobering fact. In 2024, just last year, Sonoma County lifeguards at Spring Lake and the Russian River rescued dozens of individuals from drowning. And tragically, last year, there were multiple drowning fatalities on both the Russian River and along the coast. So today, we really want to talk about how you can stay safe when you're enjoying our incredible rivers, lakes, and coastline. And, the reality is that we live in a very beautiful place, that we have wonderful access to waterways, but these wonderful spots come with real risks. And being prepared can save our lives as well as those of our loved ones and our friends. So let's get on with our discussion. Greg, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. It's great to be heading into the warmer months, and we love our waterways, but there are risks, as we've discussed. So
Absolutely.
could you talk about what are some of the biggest water-related dangers that people may not always be aware of in our area?
Sure. That's a great question. So I think it really starts with your personal comfort around water. So if you grew up taking swim lessons, you grew up comfortable around water, that's a great first step. But at the same time, rivers and coastlines can pose certain threats that even some of the best swimmers, lifeguards, can be affected by. So taking the necessary precautions, avoiding rivers with fast currents, avoiding dangerous coastlines with rip currents, undertows, things like that. That's the huge first step right there. If you are uncomfortable with water, if you're unsure of your swimming abilities, it's really important to just wear a life jacket.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have access to a life jacket, just enjoy the water from a distance.
Right.
Dip your feet in the water. Try to stay away from dangerous situations the best way you can.
Yeah. Well, the Russian River is one of our most popular destinations, right?
Totally.
If people come from outside the area or people here. But, in years like this, we've had a lot of rainfall, and that water is moving fast, and will be for a while. What makes that particularly dangerous? Because I know that sometimes it looks really safe and that water's so attractive, but it can be moving pretty quickly, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. And so in comparison to other rivers, it's actually got a gentle current, but that's not to say it doesn't have its dangerous zones. So we like to say at the county that you never step into the same river twice,
Right.
Because due to all of the changes with flood season and just the fact that the river is constantly flowing, the river can change, overnight, over the course of weeks, months, years. So maybe one summer you'd be able to stand somewhere. The next summer, due to changes of conditions, that water could be over your head. So
Right. Yeah.
it's just really important to keep that in mind, and pass that information along to others.
Yeah, and there's also some hidden dangers under the water, under the surface, right? There are things you can get tangled up in, trees that have been swept downstream or brush, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So swimming in water in comparison to pools has its major differences. So one of the biggest ones is that you can't see the bottom of a river, of an ocean, of a lake. And so you don't know what's really down there. So it could be a log that floated down the river. It could be, some piece of metal or a car tire or something like rocks, anything that could really pose a threat to you. So it's just really, really important to take the necessary precautions. So if you're going to be walking around in that water, maybe a good idea to wear some water shoes or sandals. Be careful if you're diving head first anywhere. We definitely don't recommend that ever. But if you are going to do that, maybe do it from the surface of the water first. Feel around to see what's below before you start making courageous moves like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just the people on the shore. Anybody out on an inner tube or a canoe or a kayak, I mean, they need to be careful too, even if they are, as you say, accomplished swimmers.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's low-hanging branches. There's rocks like right in the middle of the river. So always just pay attention to where you're going. Bring the necessary equipment that you might need in case
Wear
you get
that
into
life jacket.
And wear that life jacket. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's switch to the coast for a second, because many people, there's always an understanding. Yes, during the winter months, that it gets high surf, it's dangerous. But even during the summer months, the coast can be tricky, right? You want to be careful when you're out along our coast in particular.
Absolutely, yeah. So Doran Beach is one of our most populated beaches and a great place to hang out during the summertime. But at the same time, it's still the ocean. And so one of the general rules of thumb around the ocean, no matter where you are, is to just never turn your back.
Right.
So while I said Doran is a safe place to swim, we don't necessarily encourage to go swimming out there just because of the unpredictable natures of that, circulate around oceans. And, there's things called sneaker waves, for example, or sleeper waves, as they're also known as, which are just unpredictable surges of water that can be, waves can be double or even triple the size that they are. So just never turn your back. And if you're not a strong swimmer, we highly recommend don't even go into the ocean to swim.
Right.
And if you do, don't turn your back. Keep your eyes on your loved ones, and just look out for yourself and wear that life jacket.
Well, I want to say, once I was in Hawaii, it happened in Hawaii, but I was floating on the water, looking up at the sky, and I got caught up in one of those riptides. And next thing I know, I'm way offshore, right next to some boats. And I remember the advice I got and was like, swim parallel to shore, and then come in. But I was a good swimmer back in those days. I was exhausted. That scared the heck out of me.
It's scary. It's a scary situation to get in. And yeah, you did the right thing by swimming parallel to the shore. Even then, though, what they don't tell you about that is you're going to be swimming twice the distance to get back to the shore.
Exactly.
So you're going to be just tired,
You're going to be
gassed
tired
afterwards. So, just try to not get yourself in that situation. But at the same time, we understand that this stuff happens, right? So just make sure you have life jacket. Make sure someone knows where you are. Don't go out alone. Things like that. So
yeah. Are there specific locations in Sonoma County that are considered safer for swimming? I mean, you mentioned Doran Beach, but that's not really safe for swimming necessarily?
I would not recommend swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
But if you do, Doran is probably the safest one on the coastline, just due to its unique location along the coast. It's sort of tucked in there along the coastline there with the bay, adjacent to it. But yeah, so anything north of there can be really dangerous. So it's just a general good idea to, don't not go swimming. Don't go in past your knees, right? But there are, it's a great point that you made. There are very safe places to swim in Sonoma County, and particularly ones with lifeguards, and specifically Sonoma County Regional Parks lifeguards.
Yeah. Well, you've had background yourself as a lifeguard,
Absolutely,
right?
Yes. Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You're the best person to know. So where are lifeguards typically stationed during the summer season around here?
Yeah. So you can find Sonoma County Regional Parks lifeguards. We have 2 beaches that we lifeguard during the summer. So that is the Spring Lake Swimming Lagoon, which is right there next to the actual Spring Lake in Spring Lake Park.
And it's very safe and
extremely safe. It's a chlorinated swimming lagoon. So we also have a jumpy bounce inflatable that's super fun for children and adults in the summertime, and it's very affordable, super fun. And every year we tend to add a new exciting piece to that. So, yeah, definitely come check that out.
Nice beach and a little cafe and everything
Oh
there.
yeah, get a cafe, get some food, some
Yeah.
beverages. It's a great place to be in the summer.
Yeah.
And then our other beach is at Healdsburg Veterans Memorial Beach in Healdsburg, and that's the beach right there below the bridge that you cross into Healdsburg, and yeah, it's actually of the 200-mile plus Russian River. It's actually the only lifeguarded beach on the Russian River.
Okay. Okay. And how are lifeguards are usually during the middle of the day on weekends or?
Yeah, so you can find lifeguards there. We're open, so our opening days are going to be Memorial Day through Labor Day.
Okay.
You'll see lifeguards there almost every day. We'll post if we are going to be closed for whatever reason. We'll make sure there's necessary marketing for that, signage posted where it needs to be. And yeah, you'll find us there 7 days a week, and we're there from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So tell us about the Water Safety Patrol. What is that?
Yeah, so the Water Safety Patrol, that was started in 2011 in response to a series of drownings that took place along the Russian River.
Right.
And so there was sort of a public outcry, like, what are we going to do to be able to prevent, drownings on the Russian River? So what we did, because like I mentioned, there's only one lifeguarded beach along the whole Russian River, but there's, 5 other county parks along the Russian River. So what the Water Safety Patrol does, we also call it River Patrol. What they do is they patrol the non-lifeguarded beaches. It's a team of lifeguards. They're roving, so they don't stay in one place for too long. But what they do is they try to catch visitors of the park that are going to be, going for their floats, going for their paddles, their day enjoying the river. And they just give them general safety advice. Make sure they have a plan for the day. We get a lot of people from the Bay Area, for example, from like San Francisco and other places nearby that are just visiting for the weekend. They've never been here. They don't have a plan for the day. They think that they're just going to float from one side section to the other, not really knowing exactly what they're looking for.
Or how they're going to get back.
Or how they're going to get back, right? And that's the other stuff I think we're going to get into later. But yeah, like just basically not having a plan. And so we try to catch them early in the mornings before they start their floats. Try to give them just general safety advice and fit them for life jackets with the life jacket loaner racks that we have available as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we want to talk a little bit more about that. But let's talk about kids and water. What should parents or guardians keep in mind when supervising, particularly younger children when they're near water?
Absolutely. So regardless of your child's swimming ability, when they're a child, they're a child. It is, I think it's your responsibility as a parent or a guardian to always keep your eye on your kids when they're anywhere near a body of water, because it only takes a second for something tragic to happen. So you can come to a facility with lifeguards. Again, lifeguards are there. We're highly trained lifeguards, but we're not babysitters at the same time, right? So we want to make sure that everyone's kids are watched safely. So it's just a good idea to keep your eye on your kids. If you're not going to be watching them, make sure that they're being watched by like a loved one or someone that you really trust.
Yeah. And even if they're together with a brother or sister, they can both go under together, especially when they're trying to save each other or one of them is trying to save the other. I know of a friend who saved a couple of kids in Monte Rio. They both went under, and he pulled one of them up and realized that she had a little brother on the other end, and it could be heartbreaking. I mean, they avoid tragedy in that case, but
absolutely no. And unfortunately, that's a common thing with drowning is one person goes and the other person tries to save them. And so we actually, in one of our water safety outreach programs called Vamos a Nadar, one of the things that we talk about, we have a little catchphrase that's reach or throw, don't go. So if you don't know how to swim or you're unsure of your swimming abilities, you can always either reach for them from a safe point, so obviously so you don't fall in, make sure that you got like something to ground yourself. But also there's things that you can throw, like, coolers, for example, they float. Someone can grab onto that. If you're at the river, the likelihood of a long stick being available or a branch is pretty high.
Or a floaty or anything.
Or a floaty, like one of those noodles, something like that. There's definitely ways for you to not. I know it may be our instinct to jump in after a loved one or a friend or something, but if you can't swim, you got to look out for yourself too, because otherwise it could spiral into a multiple victim rescue.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that free life jacket loaner program in particular. If you mentioned it, Where are those available? And I imagine same summer months type between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Absolutely, yeah. So those start Memorial Day weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to extend the life jacket loaner program. Typically, it ends in on Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
However, we're going to be extending that through into October this
Oh,
year.
good.
And so, where those are available, I can list off the beaches right now. So those are going to be available at Del Rio Woods,
Okay.
Healdsburg Veterans Memorial Beach. There's going to be one at Steelhead Beach, Forestville River Access. The locals call that Mom's Beach.
Right.
And then Sunset Beach. And there's one more rack that's not on the Russian River, and you're going to find those ones at Spring Lake.
Okay. Okay. And so how do you take advantage of that as a parent, or you can they just have jackets there you can take out
Absolutely.
or check out?
No, it's a great question. So it's kind of like a library for life jackets. So
Okay.
you can take a jacket, wear it for the day. We just ask that you return it on the rack at the end of the day. And what's really cool about it is if you're planning a float for the day. So if you're, for example, a popular float that people do is from Steelhead Beach to Sunset Beach.
Right.
You can actually grab a life jacket from Steelhead, wear it the whole float down to Sunset Beach, and you can actually return it at the rack at Sunset Beach.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a really cool little system that we have, and to watch this program grow has been really, really cool to witness over the years. Like I said, it started around 2011, and we've been handing out. It's been growing exponentially over the years. We started out handing out, maybe like hundreds to thousands, and now most recently, just this past summer, we handed out. It's estimated that we loaned about 30,000 life jackets.
Oh, wow, that's
So,
great. Well,
very
people are taking advantage of it. That's got to be a good
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
absolutely, and we love to see it.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring this up because I know it's the reality that many times when problems happen by the water, sometimes alcohol or cannabis is involved in some way. So how does that use increase the risk of drowning or injury?
Yeah, it can really amplify something.
Throw people off.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you're already not a good swimmer, it's really going to amplify that, and it can cause even more of a high risk situation.
Yeah.
So try to avoid it. Try to limit your use if you're a user, and just be safe. Maybe have somebody there to watch after you, especially if you're at one of the the non-lifeguarded spots on the river, coast, or lake.
Right.
So yeah, just be safe. You can always wear a life jacket too while you
Probably the best
consume.
advice. Yeah, if you're going to do that, it might be, because you can end up doing some crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if somebody wants to learn more about water safety here along the river or along the coast, well, where's the best place to go?
Awesome. Yeah. So you can we have a lifeguard services page on Sonoma County's website. So it's the short site link for it would be socoparks.org/lifeguard.
Okay.
And you can find all of our information about how to become a lifeguard, how to sign up for our junior lifeguard camps. You can apply to be a lifeguard in training. That one has expired this year, but look for it next year. And yeah, there's a lot of resources available online, like YouTube. The American Red Cross is a great source for water safety. Sonoma County Regional Parks lifeguards are all USLA certified lifeguards. So that's short for United States Life Saving Association.
That's cool.
You can go to the United States Life Saving Association's website, and you can actually find some really good water safety resources on their site as well.
Oh, that's great. Is there an age minimum to sign up for the lifeguard training program, or
So for
the junior?
Yeah, so junior lifeguard camp. No, it's a great question. So the junior lifeguard camp, it's a great little stepping stone for children to get into the world of water safety, and a great way to get involved with lifeguarding if they want to become a lifeguard. I mean, that was my first job growing up, and I can't recommend it enough. And so we actually have a brand new camp this year. It's called Little Lifesavers.
Oh,
it's
that's
for
great.
children ages 6 to 9. And then we have a new swimmer junior lifeguard camp, which is specifically designed for kids that don't have any swimming experience. So you can still do the junior lifeguard camp if you're not a good swimmer and you're not comfortable around water. This is a way to get comfortable with the water, and we'll teach you water skills. And then we have our regular junior lifeguard camp, which the prerequisite is that you should have some swimming skills before you sign up for that one. But yeah, those are our camps. We're also looking for hiring lifeguards for Sonoma County Regional Park. So the age requirements for that are 16 years old.
Okay.
You have to be able to swim 550 yards in under 10 minutes. We'll test you, And yeah, if you pass the swim test, we just move forward with your with the onboarding process, and you'll have to go through a 2-week long training academy.
Okay.
So it's very rigorous, mentally, physically exhausting, but you'll become a Sonoma County Regional Parks lifeguard at the end of it. It's very, very rewarding.
Well, that sounds fantastic. How old were you when you started?
When I started, I was 23 when I
Okay.
started working for Sonoma County
Okay.
Regional Parks. Yeah, so I did my lifeguard academy in 2013.
That's fantastic. That sounds great. Sounds like a great way to spend your summer and serving your community. And
Great way.
yeah. Well, is there any other messages you have for our listeners that you want them to take away especially when concerning water safety this summer?
Absolutely. We just want to say the water is fun. We don't want people to be afraid of the water. So this is none of the stuff that we're saying is any sort of fear mongering. We want people to have fun, be safe. But if you're going to be in the water and you're just not comfortable with your swimming abilities, or you're just a little unsure, just take the necessary precautions. Wear a life jacket. You can come to one of our lifeguarded beaches. That's a great place to be safe and have fun and enjoy it around the water.
I like how we started this conversation where you started. It begins with knowing our own abilities and just being, and also being aware of the risks by our waterways in our area. So,
absolutely, yeah. And it's never too late to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
There's places where adults can learn. You can take adult swim lessons, and just learning the basics can go a long way.
Yeah, we can always get better.
Absolutely.
Well, Greg, thank you very much. We can't thank you enough, and as a thank you we'd like you to have one of our SoCo Chat
amazing
podcasts mugs to take with you, and to our listeners, we also would like to give you all a chance to not only win one of our SoCo Chat coffee mugs or water flasks here, but you can also have a chance to win a $69 regional seasonal pass for the regional parks. And all you have to do is be the first to answer our question, and that is, when does the Sonoma County Regional Parks Russian River Water Patrol begin its seasonal patrols, and when do the free life jacket loaner program, those stations, when do they become available to the public? If you were listening to our conversation today, you should know the answer to that. Either way, call us at 565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. And if you submit your answer as soon as possible for a chance to win those great prizes. Also, if you have comments about this or any other segment, or have a suggestion for a topic for a future SoCo Chat discussion, please email us at that same address, publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. And also, we hope you continue to follow us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and of course YouTube, and tell a friend. We want to get this message, important information, out to as many North Coast residents as we can. Thank you once again for joining us. And thank you, Greg.
Thank you.